everybody kind of, for the most part, comes into the world loving themselves, appreciating themselves, respecting themselves, right? And then things happen in life, situations, painful situations, and then their response is not respecting themselves, not loving themselves, not appreciating themselves, and then they get stuck in that pain. So you're talking about growing that. I'm thinking that people have lost that, and instead of going back and saying, okay, I can change this, I can think of a situation or a painful experience in a new way, they look externally for somebody else to make them feel.
But what I would say is, spiritually, we know that there are different forces in our world, not just the ones that we interact with on the physical level. And what the sages have said is that one of the most powerful places that we are challenged in life is the diminishment of ourselves in our own eyes. That's really the focus of all negative energy in this world and all negative interactions that we have. The core and purpose of all that is that I lose respect, appreciation, love for myself. Mm-hmm. And that if it was possible to live with I don't want to say the word growing now, you scared me, but with the true sense of who we are, who our soul is, that power, that beauty, that strength, many of us would be living very different lives. And that's why
I think this actually, it's such a great exchange here, because I think that, and we have this a lot when we speak together, you speak about this elevated state of where we need to keep going, and I 1,000%. And then I then hear you and I'm like, okay, I imagine people who are wounded. Like if you look at children playing, right? They have such spirit. They do love themselves. They believe that they can do anything. They're very connected to something greater. They appreciate themselves. They're proud of themselves, right? Just in the way they act and they do things, sing, and there's no shame for the most part, right? And then,
because I would say they're connected to truth, right? They're connected to who they really are.
Yes. And then often from elderly people, parents,
older,
they get,
not necessarily elderly.
They get feedback that somehow, you should be embarrassed by that, or you shouldn't have done that, or that was wrong, right? And then they get stuck in that. So I think a lot of the work I do is helping people get from that space to the space that you're talking about. Right. But I do think it's an important point because it's so beautiful, right? We all come from that, and then we lose it somewhere along the line.
And more than that, I think there's a phrase that I really like and I think about often. I think about for myself, and certainly when I'm speaking to other people, that our soul, our essence, it says it's a part of God. It's an aspect of the force that created this universe, called the Creator, call it God. And when you realize that we aren't these random beings trying to make ourselves or make our lives and make ourselves into something, but that innately, inborn, before we even knew ourselves, we were, and we are this unbelievable power.
Force,
power. And I think it's important that we understand that no matter what we do, because I think often what happens, people don't have this awareness, right? So the first thing that I would say to our listeners is know that what you are, that who you are in your essence is a powerful force beyond anything you can even understand. That's who you are. That's who I am. That's what we are now. First, you have to begin with that consciousness. If you don't have that consciousness, if you're not growing that consciousness, you'll be missing out on so much of what you can and are meant to do, can and are meant to accomplish, can and meant to experience.